"And you knew this Kenny Foster how?" my father was asking me once his stupefaction that his daughter had killed a boy had begun to recede. He and my mother were sitting on my bed beside me late that afternoon, an hour of the day when usually my mother would have been drinking and making dinner. My father was a lawyer, but not a litigator. He was rarely in courtrooms, and to this day I cannot imagine him giving an opening statement or closing argument. He worked in the contracts department for the Metropolitan Life Insurance Company, and his strength was that he was always a stickler for details. That moment, he was intellectually fascinated by the legal ramifications of a golf ball speeding briefly through space and a net and taking a human life. He loved me, but he loved my older brother far more. My brother didn't steal one of his golf clubs and break a car window. My brother didn't crash our mother's Camaro into a stop sign when he was stoned. That, too, was me, weeks after I got my license. Once again, however, I dodged legal jeopardy. The local police didn't realize I had been smoking weed at a friend's house and accepted my lame excuse that I had swerved into the sign to avoid a cat that had run into the street. But this, too, would be a strike against me, when I could have used an immaculate history. My face was buried in the pillow, but my mother was sitting close enough to the headboard that she was rubbing my back through my shirt in great, gentle circles, the motion honed from years of dusting the dining room table. We had a housekeeper who came once a week, a woman my mother's age named Felicia, who baked us sweet potato pies at Thanksgiving and brought us crispy golden fried okra in July, but that dining room table had been in my mother's family since the 18th century, and she cared for it with the sort of gentleness and devotion more sane people reserve for elderly cats. Could she feel the heat from my inner core, volcanic and flushing my skin through the cotton of my golf shirt? I wasn't sunburned, but my hands were clasped under my pillow, and they were hot to the touch. I was feverish with fear and self-loathing and guilt. "He was a year behind me in school," I murmured. I sounded feeble. "I know. I understand. But how well did you know him?" my father pressed, annoyed that I had oversimplified my response to his question. "Were you two friends? That's what I meant." "Yes, we weren't super close. We hung out with different people, but he was in my AP European history class last year, and we got to know each other a little more this summer at the club. We'd talk sometimes when I was on the practice green or at the net." "He took AP European history as a junior?" my father asked. "Uh-huh." "Well, good for him. Spencer did that, too," he remarked, referring to my brother. I picked my head up off my pillow, surprised that even my doctrinaire pedant of a father had paused to commend the initiative or the intellect of the dead boy whom his daughter had killed. "Dad, really?" I asked. "He may have been a caddy, but I guess the kid had ambition," he said. "Honey," my mother told him, "you'll only make Mira feel worse." A part of me was parsing the idea that my father thought Kenny Foster had potential even though he was a caddy, when, in hindsight, that was among the demonstrable evidence that he might, in fact, have been going someplace extraordinary. Until he wasn't. Suddenly, my febrile imagination was wondering what Kenny would have become had I not killed him.